It is time for our campaign timeout, where we take a pause of the frenetic pace of the campaign to zero in on a key issue from the trail. And today we take a timeout on healthcare. Why? Well, Twitter flagged Liberal candidate Chrystia Freeland tweets about Erin O'Toole's position on universal healthcare as manipulated media. Here's what happened. On Sunday morning, Chrystia Freeland tweeted out a video of Erin O'Toole speaking about healthcare last summer. One was in English, one was in French. Here is the question that Kate Harrison, the vice chair of Summa Strategies, who will join our show later, asked Mr. O'Toole in the video. Check it out.
Would you be prepared to allow provinces to experiment with real healthcare reform, including the provision of private, for-profit, and non-profit healthcare options inside of universal coverage?
That was the question. Now, here's the edited version of the video Chrystia Freeland tweeted out. This is the edited version. Check it out.
Yes. Now, I'll elaborate a little bit more. We can't have just one old model that is increasingly becoming inefficient, and we have to find public-private synergies, and that capital will come in to drive efficiencies.
The video, as you can see, was like crudely edited. But let me show you what he actually said, because the full context matters. He still thinks universal access to healthcare is, and he said these words, of paramount importance. Check this out.
If we want to see that innovation, we have to find public-private synergies and make sure that universal access remains paramount.
Universal access remains paramount, he said. Now, Twitter slapped a manipulated media warning on that, but that didn't seem to bother Justin Trudeau. Even though Twitter called it manipulated media, he doubled down on it. Check this out.
What's really important here is that in the middle of a pandemic, Erin O'Toole came out unequivocally in support of private health care in terms of for-profit health care.
Mr. O'Toole just shook his head at that and fired back at Mr. Trudeau. Check this out.
What is Mr. Trudeau talking about? Division, misleading people, importing American-style media manipulation to our campaign within the first 10 days of a campaign.
The Conservatives have also sent a letter to Elections Canada calling for an investigation and for the video to be removed. So there's that issue and the policy. Just what would some kind of mix of public and private healthcare actually be? What exactly are those private-public synergies Mr. O'Toole talked about? What could they be? To talk about all this, we are joined now by Rob Oliphant, a Liberal candidate for Don Valley West. Michelle Rempel Garner is a Conservative candidate for Calgary Nose Hill. And Angella MacEwan, an NDP candidate for Ottawa Centre. Okay, thanks for all being here. Mr. Oliphant, your party actually was trying to pass legislation to stop spreading false information, and then your party went ahead and did it. Will there be an apology for that?
Evan, I don't think there was any false information here. The reality is that in the middle of a pandemic, hospitals filling, people dying in long-term care facilities, many of them private, Erin O'Toole, running for a leadership campaign, was very clear that he supports private for-profit healthcare, and that is not something that we support. He, right then, while the Liberal government was building surge capacity, building a field hospital just a few blocks from where I live at Sunnybrook Hospital, procuring vaccines, making sure that we had public health at the highest level, the Conservative Party was talking about privatized healthcare. That is not on our agenda. Today we're announcing stuff, again, about ensuring that our public healthcare system is robust, is accessible, and will fulfill what Canada and Canadians want in a good healthcare system. Good medicine, not bad medicine.
Okay, but before I get to the other candidates, let's just have a quick fact check. You know, under the Liberal government since 2015, you've done nothing to stop the existence of diagnostics. There already is a mixture, but so that's on the table. But Mr. Oliphant, real quick, you're now defending that crudely edited video as an accurate portrayal of Mr. O'Toole. You think that was totally fine to campaign like that?
I think it was absolutely fine to bell that cat. And you will note on that tweet also, of course, social media. Last week I was edited by CTV after I was on this show. So in social media, you get edited. We also put the link to the full 2 minutes. The full, we provided Canadians. What I suggest is Canadians watch for themselves. Ask Mr. O'Toole, what are these public-private synergies he's talking about? What's the guarantee to access? Ask them. Watch the full video. Absolutely. We gave a teaser. We sent people to it. Now watch it.
Okay, yeah, we don't edit to make political points, but I'll go to Michelle Rempel Garner. The Liberals are defending it. They say it's totally accurate, and that in fact it makes their case. What's your view on this, Michelle Rempel Garner?
Well, look, healthcare is front and center of people's minds across the country right now, and we released our platform last week, and we have a firm commitment to increase transfer payments to the provinces for healthcare by a minimum of 6% per year. I guess I kind of understand why the Liberals are resorting to this type of American-style tactic right now, and it's because they failed to fulfill their 2019 campaign platform promise to give every Canadian access to a primary care physician. And I also want to note that under our former Conservative government, we had healthcare transfer payments growing by about 6% per year. Under the Liberal government, it was reduced to 3%. So, I think where the debate should be focused is how do we sustain our publicly funded healthcare system? That is what is in our platform. We've got a whole plan for that, as well as the opioid crisis, mental health, pandemic preparedness. And I just don't think Canadians are buying this. It's desperate at a time when we need to have firm plans to strengthen our healthcare system. And that's what was in our platform. That's what our leader was talking about today. And I'm proud of that.
Okay, just on a fact check, it was Mr. Harper who changed the healthcare transfers, as you know, to the rate of inflation. So it was actually Mr. Harper that did that. The Liberals continued that. But just quickly, Michelle Rempel Garner, just one last question. But you didn't take on the issue. Mr. O'Toole and the Conservative Party are open to more private-public synergies as innovation. That's a yes on that, though, and so we can figure out what those are. But you're not saying that's wrong. You want more private-public synergies. Is that right?
Well, actually, I just want to go back to what you just said. The growth under the previous Conservative government was 6% per year because the economy was growing. Under the Liberal government, because our economy has been constrained, it's only been 3% per year. And when the provinces went to the Liberal government, particularly during the pandemic, and said, hey, we desperately need more help, particularly now during the pandemic, they did not increase those transfer payments. And what we're saying today is that we will increase the transfer payments because that universal system that we all depend upon, that's a hallmark on Canadian health and safety, we need that predictable funding. And that's right front and center in our platform. It's something that many Canadians have advocated for, we're committing to, but we're marrying that with a plan for economic growth so that we have that stable and predictable funding, which I think is a responsible thing to do coming out of the pandemic.
Right. My point is that the Harper healthcare funding formula was the exact one that the Liberals kept. It was that formula. But I got to get in Angella MacEwan. You can respond to both the Liberals issue and what you've heard so far, especially on the healthcare issue. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. For sure. It's certainly troubling that a senior member of this government is putting out something that is not entirely accurate. We should be being very, very careful about what you put out in social media and making sure, because it's a huge problem. And we want people to have the best information they can, which includes the fact that it was entirely Stephen Harper's cuts that the Liberals kept. So we've had decades of cuts in healthcare from both the Liberals and the Conservatives. We had private for-profit long-term care homes because neither government ever brought long-term care under the Canada Health Act and put in strong national standards to protect our family members who require long-term care. So that's what the NDP is promising. We're promising investment, specific investments in terms of public long-term care, in terms of public medicine coverage. And the NDP put both of those options before the last government, and both the Liberals and Conservatives voted against them, siding instead with big business, with pharma, ahead of people. And so if you want, to look at who's putting their money where their mouth is, it's the NDP.
Right. Can I also, I keep fact checking here, but I just want to say neither under the Conservatives nor the Liberals was there essentially a cut. They were actually increasing the transfers. But as you say, they did not keep the 6% escalator. It went to, after a certain year, to the rate of inflation. So it was cut from that, but it still wasn't an overall cut. I want people to get the factual information. That's the truth.
Sure, but if you look at the cost of inflation and the population growth, it is actually a cut in real terms. So in real economic terms, the cost of things are going up. So it was not enough money to even keep the basic services that they had already been providing in check. So that is in real terms a cut. That's what economists would call a cut.
Mr. Oliphant, can you just tell us, I understand that this manipulated media, as Twitter called it, kickstarts a healthcare debate. But what exactly have your government done since 2015 to actually put a stop to many of these private diagnostic firms, for example, that have sprung up all across this country? By the way, legal in Quebec, as you know. Have the Liberals done anything to change that? I'm trying to figure out what it is. I can't see anything.
Canadians expect a robust healthcare system. And I just wanted to comment that 8 out of 10, every $10 that has been spent on this pandemic has been spent by the federal government, by the Liberal government. We have not been slow on this. We have been robust and effective. We have made sure that with the Safe Restart agreements, we have worked with provinces. We have been funding where there are holes in. The pandemic has revealed cracks in our system. It's increased wait lists. We've seen where we were short of family doctors. So today we've been announcing additional funding. We announced already $4 billion new funding to help the provinces and territories with wait lists, $6 billion more money. We are committed to a robust, publicly funded healthcare system. Of course, there are other parts of that healthcare system. I've attended them. I've had tests done. But what Canadians want to do is to make sure that our hospitals are well funded, that provinces can run them well, and that the
but isn't that, just to be fair, but isn't that what Mr. O'Toole said?
Effective and good.
But what's the difference? I'm just trying to figure that out. Well, what's the difference with Mr. O'Toole? He said, let's protect universal access to services, but let's have private-public synergies. You're saying, yes, there are other services which are private-public synergies. So
we don't know what he means.
I'm just trying to figure out what's the difference here.
I'll let Mr. O'Toole explain himself about these public-private synergies. There's a long history there. We know that the Liberal Party will stand for public health care, and we will be continuing to do it as this pandemic comes to an end, as people get vaccinated. We know that those vaccines, we have procured enough vaccines for everyone in this country, and we want to make sure they get them. Our party is making sure that our candidates are vaccinated. We want the people that were not
focus on one
vaccinated.
issue. Okay.
That's part of the public health care system that we'll defend.
And vaccines
Michelle
are medicine,
Garner,
actually, so we don't have public medical coverage for everyone. And the NDP proposed that, and the Liberals voted against it.
And I just want to fact check.
Yeah, go ahead, Michelle Rempel Garner. But I want to drill down on something with you, but I know you wanted to respond. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's not the Liberal government spending money, it's Canadian taxpayers. So, I think we just have to set that right. And I think we also need to put what the Liberals have done in perspective here. Right now, the Liberals are promising, and again, they're building on failed to deliver promises from 2019. They're promising a one-time top-up of $10 billion. We're promising $60 billion in a stable, predictable increase, which is what the publicly funded healthcare system needs to grow over time. Now, again, I just want to emphasize that the Liberals have not followed through with any sort of meaningful support to the provinces when they needed it during the pandemic. We fought the Liberals in the House of Commons on pandemic preparedness, on the opioid crisis, on vaccine procurement. And I think Canadians just want a stable plan rather than this misinformation stuff. And very quickly, I just want to say, Angela, it's great to have another economist around. So I hope you win.
Okay. Just real quick on this. Look, Mr. O'Toole in the video referenced the Chaouli decision, which is a 2005 Supreme Court decision referencing Quebec that basically says if you can't get services in a timely manner in a public fashion, the prohibition against private services basically is a violation of your right to safety. And basically, a lot of folks view that as the door to a two-tier system. When Mr. O'Toole referenced that, Michelle Rempel Garner, can you just be specific? What new private-public synergy was he talking about? What service does he want to see across this country that we don't have now delivered by private healthcare? What is it?
Well, first of all, the key thing that Mr. O'Toole said that the Liberals were flagged for manipulated media is the paramount importance of the universal healthcare system and access to it. And today, as he, Aaron said this over and over and over again, and
he said both. We acknowledge that, but what did he mean on the other hand?
Within the context of the universal healthcare system, what we are committing to is a 6% stable increase to the provinces, but also a lot of other things that are going to help the provinces, like an opioid addiction treatment program, like mental health support, and like a pandemic preparedness plan. So I think that's the key here, is that we are agreeing that, I think all parties are agreeing that we need to ensure that we have a strong publicly funded healthcare system. But we have here is the governing party resorting to misinformation as opposed to putting forward their own plan. And that's because they've failed to deliver on this in the past. And I think after the pandemic, as we're getting into that, Canadians deserve more. And I'm glad, I encourage every Canadian to read our plan because it is robust and it is going to deliver on those promises.
To be fair, I didn't get an answer on what the private public synergies might be, but I just quickly for Angella MacEwan, what do you make of all this? Because there is already a mixture of some private delivery and some public. Would the NDP try to protect the Canada health system, or given the court case in Quebec, is that the future anyway?
I think that we've had successive cuts under Liberal and Conservative governments that have brought us to this point where we have these wait lists. The NDP has committed to the 6% escalator as well. We've committed to training nurses and other healthcare workers to make sure that we have the staff in place that can do this work. It's crucial, important work. But we are also committed to maintaining the public level. When you have a two-tiered system, I lived in the United States for a bit, and when you have a two-tiered system, it's fantastic for the people who have the money and can afford it, and it is awful for the people who can't. So the wait lists only grow longer for the people who can't afford the private system. That's how it works everywhere it's been tried. You can't have a two-tier healthcare system and call it universal. It doesn't work.
Absolutely.
Okay, can I just take a quick break, though? Rob Oliphant, Michelle Rempel Garner, and Angella MacEwan. I got to take a break. We'll come back. I really want to talk about the situation in Afghanistan.